The FTC, or the Federal Trade Commission, has been investigating T-Mobile for unfairly charging some of its customers and doing so deceptively. Now, let me give you the details as to what they're doing. The FTC says that T-Mobile routinely placed charges on customers' bills for premium text messaging services that, in many cases, were bogus charges that were never authorized by its customers. So let me tell you exactly what that means. They had like these third parties come in and send special text messages to their customers, right? And the customers were being charged $10 a month for those text messages without knowing that they were being charged and without even agreeing to accepting that service. So T-Mobile would get a huge chunk of the revenue that third party would get, about 35 to 40% of that revenue. So T-Mobile is making money off of its customers. They're doing so deceptively. And another thing that they would do is they'd have these long bills that would hide the charges, so the consumer would have a really difficult time determining why all of a sudden their bill is costing them more money and what they're being charged for exactly.
And then there was the prepaid phones. That's even worse because it would get deducted from your account and you had no idea, like it was just minutes, right? So they'd be gone. So you wouldn't have any way of tracking it. Now, look, this is basically theft. You know, we have this reverse idea in America. They think like, so often I hear people say, well, that's a big corporation. They wouldn't rip you off. No, unfortunately, oftentimes that's the exact opposite. Like, since they're a big corporation, they feel like they can get away with anything, right? They bought off the system. They're a giant multinational corporate. They're not going to go to jail, right? Jail's for little people. It's not for big people. So you got to watch your back, man.
No, this is. I love this story, and I love this story because anytime you hear these arguments about how we need to get rid of certain government organizations or basically government entities that look at private businesses and make sure that they follow the law. Hey, if you get rid of the FTC, or even in this case, the FCC, which is also going to launch an investigation against T-Mobile, the consumer gets screwed. Corporations want to make money. They're not going to, follow the law on their own. You need someone to actually enforce the law. You need to make sure that you have government protecting the consumers, and that's exactly what they're doing in this case. And thank God, because these customers were getting charged $10 a month. Think about how much that adds up.
That's, look, at least tens of millions of dollars. It might be hundreds of millions of dollars, right? So there's a person who wrote this piece on Gawker that I think makes a great point. He's like, look, if you ripped off somebody's credit card, oh, you'd go to jail. There's no question about that. Even if you're a small business, like you're running a local deli, grocery, whatever it is, right? And you're systematically overcharging people's credit cards, oh, they'd bust you. You'd go to jail, right? But if you're a giant corporation, well, you're above the law, right? Is anybody from T-Mobile going to go to jail here? I'm waiting with bated breath, right?
The FTC found evidence indicating that T-Mobile had been doing this as far back as 2009. Now, the current CEO of T-Mobile, John Legere, has been there since 2012. So there might be some indication that he was completely unaware of what was going on. But nonetheless, the dude made $30 million last year. If he is the CEO of the company, he should be aware of everything that's happening within his company, unless he's incompetent and is just completely oblivious to happenings in his own business, which would be absolutely ridiculous. But someone should definitely go to jail for this. This is ripping people off. This is stealing money, and there should be consequences. But as we know, whenever these people get busted, oftentimes they get a fine, and the fine is just a little drop in the bucket for them because they're making millions and millions of dollars each year.
So, look, they're going to have to do a thorough investigation into who was there when, most importantly, who authorized this and who knew about it. Because this is not a program you could run by accident. On purpose, you're charging people more and you're hiding it, right? So it is a willful action that somebody at T-Mobile took and somebody authorized. That was grand theft on a massive scale, okay? So they should unquestionably do an criminal investigation and send those people to jail. But as we've seen with the bankers over and over, they're too big to jail, etc. This is where corporations get special rights, right? They say, oh, we have, according to the Supreme Court, all the rights of human beings. We have freedom of speech rights. Now the Supreme Court just gave them religious rights, the right to their own religious freedoms, whatever the hell that means for a corporation, right? That was in the Hobby Lobby case. But then when they do criminal actions, so often they just get to skate. So they're superhumans. They have all of our rights and then some.
Absolutely. And another really funny part about this story is the fact that the CEO of the company, John Ledger, was on the record saying really terrible things about AT&T and Verizon. These high and mighty duopolists that are raping you for every penny you have, they fucking hate you.
Okay, and by the way, I defended that guy on a previous story when he talked about AT&T and Verizon, right? If they found out that he knew about this or should have known about this, I mean, of course, do whatever action you need. That guy's not my fucking uncle. Okay, what do I care? If he's doing the right thing, I'll support him. If he's doing the wrong thing, I'll support his ass in jail.